in humility, and I'm nervous. All who are present here today, from the great names in motorsport to the loyal, passionate supporters, accepted their invitations without hesitation, and those who are absent sent their inabilities with heavy hearts. To be exposed to the esteem in which you are held by your peers, and to the admiration and respect in the eyes and voices of your followers, makes one realise that what has made you a champion is not just the number of times you stood on the top step of the podium, but also the unswayable passion and respect you've held for your sport and its supporters. Today we acknowledge the journey that began here at Tarrawingee 50 years ago and culminated in such prolific achievements and accolades. It was made possible by your incredible tenacity, skill, dedication and never-failing passion. Allan Moffat, the achiever, the champion, the gentleman, we support you. We salute you. Do you take this back now, Rod?
There you go. That's an album of today, and we'll be getting photos. We'll be getting photos from people. We'll get some email addresses, and we'll be putting the rest of it together. And we'll sit down and put all the photos from today in the back of the album for you. So thank you very much.
Turn around, Al.
You know that don't walk off, I'm not finished with you, boy. Get back here where I can whack you. We're in Ned Kelly territory. So you and everybody else that was behind all of this scam to keep me defrauded of a happy Sunday afternoon, I'm only joking. Ned and the boys will be waiting for you at the other side of the gate, so we're not finished with you. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, if I could ask Allan and Ellen to make their way across to the commemorative cake. There's a knife sitting there, a lovely red TR3, and we will cut the cake.
This is my piece on the corner, so nobody can
Well done, Allan. Now, Mr. Moffat's one of your friends couldn't make it here today, but he did send a telegram. He must know you well because he doesn't know his first name. He says, Moffat, I think it's great that you've been stitched up. Sorry I can't be with you this weekend due to other arrangements overseas. So it's one of your rich friends. Yeah? I've been invited to the Ford Motor Company Oakville for your 50th anniversary celebration instead. Somehow I managed to get through customs and immigration and into Canada without your help this time. Any clues yet? It's unfortunate that I was too young to see your first race at Tarrawingee in a TR3, but there's been an absolute pleasure to be a friend and teammate in the ensuing years. Our years of racing together with the Ford Motor Company are some of my most favourite memories, and motor racing will never quite be the same again without the two of us and our exceptional skills and talents, and yours too.
Thank you, Fred.
Enjoy the moment. I look forward to catching up and hearing all about it when I get back. And you guessed it, FG. Fred Gibson.
This is a delight to get this from Freddie. He's in Canada because his oldest daughter is there and his grandchildren are there. But Freddie, I must give Freddie total credit, a lot of credit, for the development of the GTHOs. In 1969 particularly, when the cars were brand new, we only had a few weeks to get ready for Bathurst. Freddie slaved around Orme Park with the race team, doing everything he could. I was lucky enough, I only had to go to Calder to finish off what he'd already produced. And he was a great teammate and today is a great friend. Thank you.
Well done, Allan. Well, we just... as this is a live show and hasn't been recorded to be replayed later... outside from under the tin, just over to Alan Smith over here. It's just fantastic, isn't it? There's the director coming on stage and ordering us around. But we are going to do what we call a live cross. And that live cross is to another friend of yours, Alan.
Hello, John. John French? Okay, here's Alan.
Is that you, you miserable bastard? Well, it just shows what a great job you did, and I would never have got around Sandown, and we wouldn't have won the first 3 hours together if it hadn't been for you, mate. So I was just a lowly co-driver. I accept that fact. We were magnificent, weren't we? Well, we were. Is this your Queensland blood coming through, John?
Well, the thing I can remember about that race was the party at your place later.
Oh, well, I have no memory of that, of course. I can't confirm.
For all the people there listening, let me tell you, every drink that we had there was in those little bottles to give you for nothing on the aeroplane. I reckon there was 100 of them there, and I'm sure someone would have given to Alan. He wouldn't have brought them home.
Yeah, but you know, we had free Coke at least. That was able to wash down anything that you were putting in the glasses. That's for sure.
Well, back in those days, I can't remember that far back anyhow. But anyhow, 50 years later, that just goes to show you what that 70 and 42 years I've known you, because I didn't meet you until that particular day at Sandown.
Yeah, but you're forgetting I was only 13. You were the old man of bloody 21.
Yeah, that's right too, and still the best.
You can go.
I'm sorry I couldn't get down, but I thought, now why waste money coming down for the weekend when next time I come down I'll spend a week there and we'll do the same thing to you as we did last time we were down.
Yeah, well, the next time I'm in Brisbane, I'll take care of you too. Thank you very much, mate. Lovely to hear from you. Thank you so much, John.
Yeah, mate, it's good to talk to you. I hope you've had a good day, and we'll talk again in another 50 years.
Look forward to that, mate.
Okay. All right, I'll see you when Gibbo comes back from Canada.
We'll have a get-together then. Thank you so much, John.
Sure, well, have a good day. See you, mate.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was John French, 1981 Bathurst winner and former teammate of Mr. Allan Moffat.
Well, I've alluded to Freddie's tremendous contribution to the development of the car, and I was more, not inclined, but I was more centered around the engine development, and we had the use of the Yu-Yangs as well as Calder. So that was a help, but Freddie did do a hell of a lot of work around Ora Park and Amaroo, and because of the shortness of time in preparing the 1969 original GTA Joes, the original Phase 1, it was Freddie's tremendous help and car setting up capacity that we walked straight into Bathurst and we were in good shape. It turned out on the day that the Detroit locker was a little bit too much of a strain for the Sydney drivers, who can remain nameless, but it was always forecast after the race that the tires had blown out, and terrible Goodyear tires, when in fact it was just fairly careless driver errors and burning the right rear tire up on turn 2 going up the side of the mountain, and blowing the tires out, and that gave us our first race, which could have been a victory, turned into a loss, but we made up for that in the next couple of years after that. Thank you.
Certainly did.
Well done, yes, of course, that great win in 70 and 71, when no one else would drive with you, so you had to drive by yourself. And then, our great mate Peter drove by himself in 72, only 3 drivers ever to win Bathurst that drove solo. Couldn't imagine those young Turks doing that now, could you?
They wouldn't have the bladder to last that long. Brocky and I had the strongest bladders in Australia. There was no bloody kangaroo in the whole of the nation that could stand up against our bloody bladders, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the welts that used to be on your back for sitting there all day for that lovely, was it leather they had in those cars those days, or just that beautiful vinyl that they had in the wonderful cars of today?
The phrase is glorified vinyl, yes. And it turned my back into like I was mosquito nest. It was quite irritating, I've got to tell you. But that was another story.
And there's plenty of them to tell. We haven't got all day because I know the sun's setting in the west in the not too distant future.
Today the fellows are bolted into beautiful bucket seats that are tailor-made for their little tushes, as the Americans would say, and everything is laid on with the cool suits and the air and the drink bottles. Freddie and I, we had to drive around there. Sometimes we couldn't even afford gloves. We had to drive with our hands by. Shocking life. It's just shocking.
There's people crying out here. I can hear them sniffling.
The only people that were crying at Bathurst was after qualifying in 1971 when I went out with the Phase 3, the first shaker, and took 11 seconds off pole time from the race before. 11 seconds. The Holden guys were crying in the pit lane. That was the best part of the whole weekend. To hell with winning. It was the vision of tears running down Joe Felice's face. They knew they were dead in the water. 11 seconds faster than the 1970 car.
All right, lovely, Alan. Thank you very much.
Alan talking about some of the memories of his races years ago, and I'm sure that we can all recall those over the years. Alan is our special guest today. We found out today that Alan flew down from Sydney this morning. So he was up bright and early, arrived at Melbourne and then hopped in a car and came straight up to Tarrawingee, which is great. So he's really put himself out to be here on the day, and I'm sure we're all very appreciative of that. So I'd like you to put your hands together and thank Alan. There are a number of other people I'd like to thank, and I unfortunately can't name all of them, but I'd like to thank Rod Barrett, the CEO of FPV, for being here and being our MC. Thanks to Rod. Brian Burke, who waved that flag 50 years ago at the Tarrawingee circuit. Thanks, Brian, for being part of it. He's over here somewhere. Murray Carter, and also another old Ford driver, is here too somewhere. Where are you, Murray? We acknowledge your participation in the sport too, the sport that we all love, motor racing and motorsport. And the rest of the VIPs, thank you all for your support and for coming along. It's great to have you here. On behalf of the North Eastern Car Club, I want to thank everybody for being here today and coming along and supporting it. It's great to see so many people here. I don't think we've had this many at Tarrawingee since the motor racing days. So this is tremendous, and we'll always remember this. I'd like to call on the club president, Ray Wingrave, to come forward. We have a presentation to make to Alan.
Got the cake already.
We have a couple of items here for Alan. One of them is a small plaque with the North Eastern Car Club emblem on it, as you can see there, and it reads, commemorating 50 years since Allan Moffat's first race at Tarrawingee, Victoria, 15th of April 1962, presented by the North Eastern Car Club, 15th of April 2012. So Ray, if you'd come forward please and present those. And there's also a copy of the history book from Some Oil to Dust. I'm sure that Alan can find a place on his wall for another one of those trophies. I'd like to thank all our members and partners, wives and so forth of the North Eastern Car Club for coming along and pulling their part today. I'm sure there's been plenty of food and drinks and things to do, and thank you all for your gold coin donations at the gate. These donations are going to our Car Club Driver Awareness Program, whereby we instruct young people from 12 years of age and over on the best way of driving and learning to drive, and it's been a very successful program over about the last 20 years, so you'll know that your gate donations are going to a worthy cause. That's about all I think at this stage. I'd also like to thank Alan Smith and Carol Kelly for their input. There wouldn't be a day go by in the last 3 months, I think, that I haven't had at least 1 or 2 phone calls from Alan. I'd hate to pay his phone bill, but that's his problem. So thank you to Alan and Carol for their part in it, and everybody else from the XR Owners Club, FPV, and whoever else is participating. Thank you. The day is not over yet. There's still a bit to see and do. We are going to move Alan over to the old racetrack and take some nostalgic photos over there. Some of you have asked how much of the track is left, and it's very little. They're only just sections of broken bitumen with grass growing through it that we can identify where the track used to go. But we can all picture it and remember the great days of racing. So thank you one and all, and I hope you enjoyed the day here.